Now when I talk to you about prejudice in gaming, what's the first thing that comes into your mind? Racism. It is with me anyway. That's the first thing I think of, and the amount of times I've played in an Xbox Live lobby and everybody's a little bit active of giving it the smack talk on the microphones, and all of a sudden you get a few guys, some guys from one state and some guys from another state, and they'll start picking up on each other's accents, and then all of a sudden one will come out with it. He'll come out with the N-word. Now the good thing about it is generally you find the people on the receiving end of having something like that thrown at them take it in the funniest form. You know, their sense of humour over the whole thing will be one of, just wash it off. Sweep it off the back, I don't care, move on. They can kind of take it in their stride because they've probably heard it so many times throughout their life, and they've been educated by their parents of how to deal with it, that they deal with it in the best way possible. So unfortunately it's harsh, but I don't think we're going to educate the world to stop it because it's there and it's just going to keep happening. It's a very tender subject that I don't want to talk too much about because I'm not black, I don't understand it much. I try to block myself out of it and imagine that it doesn't happen. So I guess I'm ignorant as well. It's one of them things where if you imagine that it's not there, maybe it'll go away. And unfortunately it won't, but hey, moving on. Now there are two other kinds of prejudice that people generally don't pick up on, and they're not as much, but they do pop up every now and then, and I see them in a lot of comments on people's videos, and this one kind of gets my back up. But there are two. Number one is age, and the other one is sex, generally aimed towards the female sector. But I'm going to kind of press on and talk about the one that affects me, and that's the age. Now, for those of you who don't know, and maybe some of you might have sussed it, I know some of you do know, I'm in fact 35. I'm in my 30s. Now for a lot of people, that's seen as a little bit weird. People get this whole kind of image that you're some 40-year-old virgin who sits in your mother's basement and you weigh about 22 stone and you've got big thick-set glasses and a beard and a white string vest and you've got a bucket of chicken next to you and maybe you've got another PC with Pornhub playing on it permanently all day. You know, maybe that's the case in some people. For me and for a lot of other people, it's not. And this is kind of a message out to the younger people because I get it, you know, I do understand. I've been young before, I understand what it's like when you meet somebody of 35. You kind of think they're an old bastard, but they're not. Now the reason this kind of came to light in my mind was because something happened a while ago when I was playing on Xbox Live with one or two of my subs. And one of them, who actually is an active sub and he'll probably end up watching this, I'm not going to name his name because I don't want any bullshit sent to him, but this isn't a nasty sort of attack on him, it's just a sort of like, maybe a educational thing if you like. So if you are watching and you know who you are, don't be offended, I'm not hurt, I'm just sort of talking about it, that's all, no hard feelings. We were playing in some Xbox Live, we were playing a bit of Call of Duty, and we were just chatting. And he turned around to me and he said, just out of interest, how old are you? And I said, I'm 35. And that was kind of met with a bit of a blank pause. And then he kind of came back afterwards and he said, oh, okay, just out of interest, why are you doing YouTube? That kind of hit me that this guy who I found out was 17 actually sees me as an old bastard. And I guess in some respects it might seem that way because I'm kind of twice his age. I'm over twice his age. Like I say, it's not a problem, I just wanted to talk about it because I wanted to kind of make him realise and make other people realise who don't get why older people play. It's horrible using that word like older people, older generation, let's call it that. Now, I sort of wanted to explain and make people understand that being a little bit older doesn't make it strange that you sit at a console and play a game. I first got into gaming when I was 7 years old. We used to go around to my uncle and auntie's house, I used to go with my mother and father, they would sit in the living room and drink beers, and my uncle would turn on the computer and say, there, go for your life and happy days. The young boys out the way, we can sit and get drunk together. He had a Sinclair ZX Spectrum 48K. Now, to a lot of you younger guys, that won't mean squat, but at the time, that was like the cutting edge of technology, it really was. And I used to play a game called Manic Miner, and I'd have many a happy hour, and that kind of spawned my love for computer games at the time. Now, as the years have gone on, I've grown to love gaming more. I've seen it grow and progress, and we've gone on to consoles and now Xbox 360, and I've kind of moved with the times and bought all these consoles and seen games grow from little pixelated images on screens to now being real life looking people that you can plug something in, turn it on and play with people around the world. However, it does kind of grate you a little bit that some people might think that you probably shouldn't be gaming because you've hit 30, and it's like, I will still keep gaming until I'm dead. My uncle now is 76, okay? He has an Xbox 360, and apparently the rumour is, and I don't know because I've never seen it, he is a beast at FIFA online. He is absolutely awesome at Forza. These are the things that my dad's told me. Yep, my dad is the kind of person who I would be targeting this commentary at, because the amount of times my dad has come to visit me and he would sit in my living room and he would look at the Xbox 360 and he'd say, haven't you grown out of that yet? And he's like, what do you want me to do? Oh, I'm sorry, I've hit 30 years old. Okay, let's put all the console away. Now it's time for me to start reading the news of the world, walking around the garden in my dressing gown and shouting at the youth of today, telling them what a nuisance they are. No, I'm not prepared to do that. That isn't what happens when you hit 30. When you hit 30, your body is pretty much at its prime, okay? It's at its peak, it's at its best. Up until a few years ago, I was a competitive mixed martial arts fighter. The reason I quit was because I had a lot of broken bones in my ribs, which was kind of causing me some discomfort every time I would spar. Now, at 35, if I was still doing that, I would be in my prime. I would be considered still eligible to go out and fight people 17, 20, 25 and have a winning chance of getting the better of them, because my body is developed, it's at its best. That's what it's considered. Prime is when it's at its best. And unfortunately a lot of people don't understand that. They think that you hit a certain age and you're ready for the knacker's yard. You need to be discarded and sent to an old people's home where you will just rot for the rest of your days. And it's not true, you know. Here's a good example. Randy Couture. Up until a couple of years ago, he was like the undefeated heavyweight UFC champion of the world. At the tender age of 43, versed in the skills of Greco-Roman wrestling, was tangling up 22-year-olds, tangling up 18-year-olds. His title was undisputed UFC heavyweight champion of the world. It wasn't undisputed UFC, knocking on a bit, got a few years on the clock, but hey, we'll let him off with that one. Probably should be standing on his front porch in a dressing gown shouting at the youth who walk by and throw litter on the floor. Heavyweight champion of the world. No, it doesn't matter about his age, he still does a job. And this is what people don't get. When it comes to gaming, people have this image that it's for kids, and once you hit an age, you got to put that game away and you've got to start doing adult things. No, I do adult things all day. I have a family, I have a wife, I have a daughter, so there goes the 40-year-old virgin theory. I have a mortgage, I have a career. Those are my adult things, that's my adult life. When everybody's gone to bed and I get that spare bit of time to myself, I'm playing on my Xbox, I'm recording gameplays. If I get the house to myself, I'm doing commentaries like I'm doing now. Doing the gaming side of things is the same thing I was doing when I was a kid. I shouldn't have to change that. It's kind of in the same category as I could turn around to a lot of my friends who go out and play football on a Sunday and a Saturday. I could say, okay, so when you was a kid, you used to run around a playing field, put your jumpers down as goalposts and kick a ball around and get muddy and dirty and slide around on the floor, yes? Yes, thank you. Now of a Saturday and Sunday at 35, you're going around on a football field, running around with your friends, kicking a football about. Don't you think you should grow out of that? You know, you did that when you was a kid. Do you still need to run around a muddy pitch with your friends kicking a ball? Of course they do. That's what they want to do. They've got a passion for football or soccer if you're from America. Why should they have to grow out of that? Do they hit 30 and then it's like, okay, no more football. Now it's time to stand out on your front porch in your dressing gown moaning at the youth of today for the litter that they throw down? No, forget that. It's a stupid theory. I'm lucky enough to have people who are older than me who I can look up to. Take El Prestador, for instance. The reason I watch them is because the guy makes me laugh. His temper tantrums, how poor he is at the game, but he's convinced that it is everybody else in the world against him, and the laws of nature just will not allow him to play a game, is hilarious. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows that it entertains us, and that's why he keeps doing it. But I've sat and read comments directed at him, and I think El Prestador's about 42, 43, I could be wrong. And people are like, oh, you 40-year-old virgin, you know, stop complaining, you old man. And you just think, why is it an issue if somebody's 40 or 50 or whatever? If they want to do this, do it. There's nothing wrong with it. So yeah, very quickly, the second thing I wanted to touch on was obviously the sexism thing. And I'm only going to touch on this quickly because, again, for me, I'm not a woman, believe it or not. But I'm going to put a link in the description to another female YouTuber who I believe is one of the best female YouTubers that I know. Probably the best. She's creative, she's original, Hey, guess what? She's not far off my age. Her name is Superpook. If you get a chance, guys, go over and check her out. You will not be disappointed. She's got a voice to melt your soul. However, if you was to call this girl a girl gamer, she would probably pull your testicles off and feed them to you, because she's from the same kind of area of where I'm coming from, you know. She's saying the same kind of thing. Don't call me a girl gamer. I'm not a girl gamer. I'm a lady who games. That is it. If in my spare time, when the kids have gone to bed and my husband's fell asleep drunk on the sofa, I want to pick up the controller and play some games. And I'll tell you something now, she's pretty damn good at what she does. I mean, she done a video the other day where she just reached her 100th swarm or something, and it's like, some people haven't even got one. So she's good at what she does, but she's not a girl gamer. She doesn't like it because it generalises her, it pigeonholes her, and people feel that they almost either have to feel sorry for somebody who's a girl gamer or have to get all horny around them. But again, I can't talk about that one too much because my sex change happened a long time ago and I forgot what it's like to be a girl. That was a joke. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover, guys. I'm sorry if I've gone on a little bit, but it's a sensitive thing that I feel that nobody really talks about, and I wanted to kind of get it out there. So yeah, hopefully that isn't too weird for you, being subscribed to somebody of 30. I will continue to do it. If you do feel that, you know, it's not for you, then cool, that's fine, I understand it. If you do feel happy enough that you want to continue being a sub, fantastic. I will more than welcome it. And if you get a chance, go over and check out Superpook. Link is in the description. I kind of get that most of the people who sub to me kind of sub for the voice thing, you know? So if you're into voices and you're into accents, that's where you want to go. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I will see you again. Apocalypse done.